Hi everyone. I welcome all my viewers on the behalf of Shopping Center Association of India. The subject of today's webinar is Energy Efficiency as a Service. Microsense Private Limited is doing today's workshop. Microsense is operating in the energy sector. It is spearheading a digital transformation for HVAC and other equipment with its unique energy efficiency as a service model. The initiative involves deploying proprietary energy intelligence software, implementing energy efficiency upgrades, including HVAC controllers, sensors, and meters, and establishing networks of patented IoT devices to monitor and report on all energy-related aspects. Now the question is, are you looking to save up to 30% of your energy costs at your walls? Yes, everyone must be. So today's webinar is conducted by Gaurav Sareen. Gaurav is Senior Vice President, IBUS Network and Infrastructure Private Limited and Head of IoT Solutions. So he shall be telling you, he has got the master key, he shall be telling you how you can save 30%. Before I hand over it to Gaurav, viewers, if something comes to your mind, if you want to ask some question, please post it. We will take up your questions at the end of the webinar. So Gaurav, I welcome you on the behalf of SCAI. So over to you, all yours.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Anji, for those kind words. Am I audible? Can you?
Yeah, you're very much audible. Your
Wonderful.
voice is clear. Everything is fine.
Wonderful. So good evening, everyone, and special welcome to all the SCAI members, and thanks to SCAI for giving us this opportunity to talk about a subject which I think is a hot button topic these days. Not only because it is directly related to margin improvement and net operator income improvement as far as energy consumption charges are concerned. However, it is also now becoming extremely important from a net zero sustainability standpoint to be watchful and cognizant of how you look at optimizing your operational equipment in your facilities. So with this, I would like to just share with you a few slides to walk you through what we believe is a very, very strong connected operations cloud-based solution, which essentially will help all mall operators, asset owners, facility managers to improve and optimize operational efficiencies across their real estate, across their malls, right? And we will share with you as we go along a few learnings and insights that we've had engaging with customers in this industry, right? So just going to share my screen here. Let me know if you are able to see my screen. Okay, so we're going to talk about how and what we can help you do in your digital transformation journey, especially for multi-tenanted commercial real estate operations, right? Okay, so before I go further, a little bit of an introduction about IBUS as a company. So IBUS is a network technology company, and we are basically solving for multiple connectivity technologies in the cellular space, in the Wi-Fi space, in the machine-to-machine space, and now we are also upgrading and going forward into the services and application space with our consulting services business. But the company's overall vision is to connect everyone, everything, everywhere. And our mission is to become an industry-leading communications and digital infrastructure company. Just so that you know, we are a 14-year-old company, and we've been backed by very strong institutional investors like Morgan Stanley and Nomura in the past, and now very recently the Sovereign Fund of India, who's backed us for our continued expansion and growth. So the company has a very, very strong pedigree, and we are continuously innovating to help our clients stay ahead of the business, right? So just a very quick look at what we've done as change leaders or market leaders. We have the largest market share in building solutions and managed Wi-Fi services. So we provide a lot of retail customers with managed Wi-Fi and in building solutions. We cover over 1 billion square feet, right? And we also are among the top 100 telecom companies in the country, right? Now, this is a little bit of a snapshot about our business units. So we have our distributed antenna systems business unit. This business unit is essentially working to solve the problem for cellular connectivity inside buildings. You would also know of this as the in-building services business, which includes essentially providing a network to bring coverage for cellular telecom providers. In this model, we basically work with Airtel, Jio, Voda, BSNL to help them provide coverage to occupants of large commercial real estate. In the Wi-Fi space, we provide a fully managed Wi-Fi offering. This is largely centered around our microsense business. This is the business that was recently acquired by IBUS as a wholly owned subsidiary, as a fully 100% acquisition. And this business focuses on the hospitality and the retail segments where they build, operate, and manage Wi-Fi and Wi-Fi hotpoints and access point across the commercial real estate. The third business or the business vertical that we have is the Connected Operations Cloud, and this is the focus for the purpose of this presentation. This is where we will talk about how we are helping clients in the commercial real estate space, especially hospitality and in the retail space, take the steps towards moving towards digital transformation, bringing their operational technology, their operational side of the world into the IT side of the world, right? So we offer a full, as you will see, a full suite of consulting-led services, which include design and build capability in this space. And then finally, we have a business that looks at all the data that we generate across our 3 business units and sees how to value or make sense of that data. Okay. So very quickly, I think there are 3 pillars of digital transformation or digital services that we offer. The first is on the monitoring and optimization of environmental parameters. This is around indoor air quality monitoring and control. This is, I think, a very, very interesting and a very, very important topic for especially large retail spaces, because monitoring the quality of air inside the mall and making it better than outdoor air quality can actually become an incentive for customers to visit the mall, right? Energy monitoring, this is our flagship offering. This is essentially an offering that looks at providing you an energy management platform across the different energy sources and meters and sub-meters that are installed, providing you a common dashboard to integrate the data from all of these meters, sensors. If you have centralized HVAC plants, then of course from all of their VFD systems, their pumps, their chillers, etc. And then using analytics and AI to actually optimize and improve the efficiency of operation of all of these energy consuming systems that you have in your site. And then the third offering is, of course, all of the other subsystems, in your operations, which includes fire and safety, which includes UPS and DG management, escalator and elevators, all of that integration with DDCs and up to the cloud are the services that we provide. So in a nutshell, it is an integrated monitoring and control platform that uses advanced analytics and IoT, right? So how do we do this, right? We talked about building efficiency, right? So efficiency is the key word here. So we are a company that is uniquely focused on looking at various means and ways of extracting efficiency from the machines that we use in our commercial real estate operations, right? And the way we do that is at the base level, like I was saying, we provide a fully managed service for energy management and optimization. This is essentially a foundation platform that basically connects all your meters, all your endpoints onto a common dashboard so that you can actually start tracking behavior and performance at an equipment level, right? And this is basically the starting point for any further automation and control, right? Because making sure that the data that you're acquiring is accurate and in real time is critical to taking any action on that data in the later stages, right? We provide facility lifecycle, PMC, and design services, and this includes site-specific customization, site-specific design, purpose-built algorithms for control, all of that that come with it, right? And of course, we have our own policy and rules engines that are developed over with our experience of having worked with tens of customers in hospitality and malls, where we have developed very, very intuitive rule-based engines that actually manage load and demand based on some defined parameters, right? From setting up this foundation, the second step that we do is we retrofit your existing HVAC. So after we've identified what the gaps are, we basically provide scalable and modular sensors and controllers that can upgrade your HVAC if the existing systems are not working, if your existing sensors or your existing controllers are defunct, which we probably is the case in 9 out of 10 facilities, right? One of the key things, guys, also is that because IBUS is a legacy network integrator, right? We are the most well-positioned in this entire ecosystem of end-to-end service providers. And the reason I say that is that in your experience, you would have come across a lot of companies talking about building automation, energy management, all of these things. But they are, if you've looked at them closely, they are either OEMs that are promising these additional software-based solutions, which normally don't work out because that is not their expertise, or software companies who have no real-world understanding how these equipments work, how they interact with themselves, and how the subsystems within them interact amongst themselves, right? So from both those angles, we believe that somebody who already is been involved in building large-scale digital infrastructure for connectivity inside commercial real estate is very well positioned to standardize both on the hardware side as well as on the software side, right? And that is where we took this lead about 2 years ago to set up this connected operations cloud business to actually go out and start standardizing a lot of how these how data is acquired, aggregated, and analyzed, essentially, right? And that will be kind of common messages you will keep listening to through my presentation. And that's, I think, what differentiates us from our competition, and our ability to actually customize and tailor the solution to your specific need, not like a standard controller with a standard software that some of the existing players offer, right? And then finally, because it's all based on large volumes of data that are being analyzed, we do a lot of predictive fault detection and diagnosis, which increases your usable equipment lifetime, right? So your overall lifetime of your equipment can be extended through regular and continuous data monitoring and analysis, right? So those are, so that's how we kind of look at working with our customers on the journey to digital transformation, right? Okay, so like I said, our differentiation is that we've developed our own framework, and that framework is called the iSiddhi framework. For those of you who speak Hindi, or even better, Sanskrit, Siddhi is a Sanskrit word which actually means expert, but also efficient, right? And so, considering that we are experts in efficiency, I thought that completely symbolizes the value that we would like to deliver to our clients, right? So we've developed a iSiddhi framework, which is essentially a framework of how can we be kind to our machines, right? So how do we heal, balance, and optimize our machines, right? Because only if we are kind to our machines will the machines be kind to the environment, right? And that's the connection I was talking about earlier, is that while your immediate, takeaway is by automating and digitizing this infrastructure, is that you're able to reduce consumption, improve efficiency, and all of that. But the bigger advantage is also the environmental impact that you minimize. And our system allows you to actually pull out reports very quickly on the ESG and sustainability side, that can be used to for your compliance and audit purposes. So on the framework, we follow a heal, balance, and optimize. Under heal, we basically start off with a site audit and assessment. We visit the site. We understand what the current level of operations is. We create an assessment. It's a fairly exhaustive process, but that gives us the ability to really come up and submit to you our findings and recommendations, right? Based on that, we then go ahead and retrofit your existing systems with sensors, with DDCs and gateways, which gives us the ability to start looking at aggregating large volumes of performance data, right? And that is important because now you have a system that is monitoring how your individual subsystems are performing on a minute-by-minute basis, right? And then we develop and deploy custom logic that can automate operations at your chiller, for your hydronic system, for your air distribution system, for your cooling towers. And this custom logic is site specific, and that's the most important part, because depending upon your building demand side condition, your building profile, we develop or customize the policy engines to provide a higher degree of environmental comfort, but also a more optimized usage of the equipment, right? In the balance phase, what we do is, based on all of the data that we have now started collecting from the heal phase, we start measuring and validating and fine-tuning, more importantly, fine-tuning the capability of the system. So for instance, to give you an example, if we find that in your chiller plant, right, the the temperatures of the water that leave the cooling tower are suboptimal based on the the wet bulb temperature, then we are able to go ahead and use scientific techniques to set that temperature, which will reduce the load on your cooling tower. I'm just taking one example. You can do these same things based on the differential pressure across your pipeline for controlling some other parameters, right? And so a lot of that measurement and validation is only possible if you have consistent and accurate data that is being pumped up, right? And once you have that data therefore brings in a tremendous amount of performance insight in terms of you know correlation insight between how an inefficiency, for instance, for one of our customers who had about 30 plus pumps and motors, we were able to look at current drawn at an individual equipment level, compare it with the rated spec value, and identify out of the 32 motors which motor was consuming more current and hence overheating and hence liable to fail, right? And so you can actually very quickly therefore understand how we move from validating and fine-tuning this data to the next step, which is optimized, where you can then look at condition-based maintenance. By the way, we in all our sites that we have set this energy system, we're doing something like 300, but that I think misses a zero. That should be 3,000 plus KPIs per minute kind of capability that we can process in our digital platform, right? And then of course we have automated alerts and notification system in case there is any abnormal performance or malfunction that is sensed. And in the optimized stage, we use all of what we've learned in the heal and the balance stage to then, like I said, move to condition-based maintenance. We can reduce your capital expenses by prioritizing, where the upgrade should happen, and then set up the foundation for future enhancements, right? That future enhancements could be in indoor environment quality, access control, even water and water management, if in the future, right? So that's the iSiddhi framework that we follow, which enables us to actually, create a very, very comprehensive and a holistic, I can, on a limb, say treatment plan for your machine. So think of us as machine doctors, right? So like I said, right, our experience, and this is to share with you what we have seen in most of our customers, right, is that any site that is above 6 or 7 years old, any operations that are about that 6 to 7 year threshold have aging and incompatible systems, and those are directly correlated with inefficient operations, right? And that inefficiency, comes from whether it is lack of visibility across your business, across your portfolio, or it is data is very hard to reach, or you have multi-vendor automation, right? A lot of these causes come together and are common to the facilities, and our solution is kind of independent of all of this, because we are we don't have any dependency on any particular system, because we bring in our own controllers and our own software, right? So at one level, we basically bridge the disparity between your different siloed systems, and by creating like I said, a standardized layer, which will help you actually leverage your investments, right? And improve your investments, and at a fraction of the cost that you're used to paying to some of our more global and international companies, right? But we've because we've built this system bottoms up with our customers through our years of association. I think this is truly an indigenous system which understands what an Indian, in the Indian context, operators and engineers, engineering teams have to worry about, right? So a lot of our dashboards, and this is just basically a quick snapshot of our customers. But this is what I want to highlight. A lot of our dashboards, and this is a real-time dashboard from one of our customers, right, which basically collates the data from across their chiller plant, right? And you can see there are multiple different values that are captured, and all of this data is basically customized for this particular customer who wanted to essentially see what was their target consumption on a monthly basis, on a weekly basis, what was their savings, and then they wanted to also see on the ambient side what was the air temperature, the humidity, the wet bulb temperature, and then on the chiller side make sure that they had a track of the different the different set points, right? We've This is also a slide which shows you how we've created a digital twin of an actual chiller plant at one of our customers. We forgot to mask the logo, so you'll have to ignore that. But the digital twin is a live representation of a component by component of the actual chiller plant at this particular property, and the green and the red dots indicate the one which one is operational. The green, of course, indicates the one that is currently operational. The red indicates that is currently switched off. On the chiller side, on the cooling tower side on the left, and on the AHU side on the right, and then the secondary pumps in the middle. And then there's a bunch of values that actually indicate real-time condenser temperatures leaving or inlet, frequency of pump operations, things like that. And you can basically when you on the actual platform, when you have your own individual credentials and log in, you will be able to mouse over each individual equipment, and a separate window opens up with about 30 to 40 KPIs for each equipment. For instance, for the chiller, small temperature difference for condenser, for evaporator, power consumption, etc., etc. So a lot of that parameters you can actually at a click remotely access without having to create manual readings, right? So it's a very, very powerful system that is built on control logic, but also psychometric principles, things like wet bulb temperature to determine what is the optimum temperature for condenser water, right? So a lot of this is custom developed for customers and clients, and this is, I think, what the most impactful value is. These are again some of the representations and dashboards of how we track the savings. So on the left hand side on the top, you see we have a target for the month, and we're showing 8.6% as savings. So this is essentially a dynamic system that, like I said, not only monitors but also controls the operation of your HVAC, right? And it keeps learning when it on precision operation. It keeps learning as it goes on, right? And the idea is, through this continuous commissioning process, you are able to achieve more and more optimization, more and more improvement in consumption. So the values that you see here are benchmarked to before automation and then after automation, right? And so the target for the month, what is the expected usage, etc., is based on how we've defined the control logic, right? I'd like to take a minute to break here. I think I will take a few questions to see if the audience has been following the discussion so far. Okay. So if there are no questions.
So, we haven't received any question. Viewers, if something is coming to your mind, please do post, and definitely Gaura shall be answering those questions. I think, Gaurav, what I would suggest, just summarize it, because what happens is sometimes, they take some time. लोग सोच रहे होंगे कि क्या क्वेश्चन पूछूं, what should I ask?
No problem. No
So
problem. Yeah, I
just
just
give
wanted
a
to make
brief
a
summary. We'll wait for 5 minutes, and after that we'll conclude and wind up the session.
sure. Can you see my screen?
Yeah, you are there.
I'll just quickly go back and share my screen just to
Just
summarize.
yeah.
Okay. So, like Anjeev suggested, very quickly, just to summarize the benefit of our solution. So it's a one-stop shop, right? I mean, we bring together the entire gambit of hardware, connectivity, and software together as one bundled offering. And it's a neutral host system, right? We take over operations and maintenance, as in that we provide you a fully managed service. It's plug and play, right? And we can do it either on premises or on the cloud, right? And so we are very flexible with regards to that, right? A few of our case studies on interest, I am happy to share. Please, if there is, any questions or any other clarifications that you
In
have.
fact, Gaurav, Mr. Vivek Kumar has asked a question. How can we decide aging of equipments? Should I repeat the question?
Of course, yes.
Yeah, Mr. Vivek Kumar, he has asked, how can we decide aging of equipments?
Okay. So thanks. I think the questioner is probably referring to the problem statement that I had mentioned, which talked about aging and incompatible equipment, right? So
Yeah.
aging in an equipment is very similar to how aging in a human happens, right? Because equipment or a system is a combination of multiple subsystems, right? The HVAC system, if I was to take that example to illustrate the concept of aging, an HVAC system is a combination of multiple subsystems. Now, each one of those subsystems has to be monitored individually for you to actually form an opinion about, where the inefficiency lies, right? So like I'd taken an example of a current overheating because of excess current being drawn is a sign of aging of equipment, right? Because you're no longer as lubricated or as well oiled as you were when you were fresh off the shelf, right? The other thing is, we see a lot of differences in small temperature difference that increases beyond the approach that has been originally set by the design or the manufacturer side. Now, all of these data are not continuously being it's not possible to manually record this data and alert in case some values are being breached, right? And so what the system or the digitization allows you to do is to actually capture all these numerical values, like I said, 3,000 plus KPIs over every minute, and then use that to determine, what is the age of the system, right? For instance, if you measure the age of a human being, it's typically done with regards to their physical age, but also correlating it to other parameters like their respiration rate, their heart rate, SO2 levels, SpO2 levels, etc. Right? Very similar to that. You basically sensorize the equipment, you start measuring and recording data, a large amount of data at very regular intervals, and that itself will give you a very strong indication of how to determine the actual age of an equipment.
Okay, now we have got a question from Mr. Ashwin Balasubramanian. His question is, in a mall environment, approximately 40% of the power is cooling, the rest 40% in tenant equipment. Does that limit the power savings we can get in your experience, since those systems are not under our direct control?
That's a great question. I'm sorry, I didn't get the questioner's name.
He is Mr. Ashwin Balasubramanian.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Ashwin, thanks for bringing this question up. I think this is relevant to a lot of your other colleagues. So, I think our technology has no limitation in the impact, which means that if you have a HVAC system, a centralized HVAC system with AHUs, which are in both the common areas and your tenanted areas, our technology will optimize it across all of those AHUs, or across all of the secondary pumps, or across all of the cooling towers. So from a technology standpoint, there is no restriction to the algorithm's capability to control and automate, right? Having said that, however, I understand that the question is also coming from, how your existing commercial models are set up between the operator and the tenant, or especially as far as energy consumption is concerned, or you might have BTU meters that are monitoring at a tenant level. We don't have any issues because our impact will be on your main main panel, right? And as far as whether individual units are consuming, individual tenants are consuming X number of units, and the transparency is completely up to you, between you and your tenant, right? And if you would like to get a little more understanding around this, my colleagues' emails are up there on your screen. Drop us a note. We are happy to discuss how, because this is a common issue that we hear from a lot of our retail mall operators, right? And so we have very innovative models to address those concerns.
So that's very interesting, and I hope all my viewers must have enjoyed the session. It was really a very informative session, and I think Gaurav, let's conclude the session. And viewers, if something comes to your mind, you can just email us, and we'll forward your questions to Gaurav, and he shall be satisfying you on your mails.
Right.
So with this, we conclude our today's session. Once again, I thank you, Gaurav, for conducting such an enlightening and informative session. With
All right,
this, thanks.
Thanks for your closing comments. So, like Anjeev said, yeah, please, if you have any follow-on questions and you would like to understand more about the platform and the capabilities, do drop us a note, and we'd be happy to set up a follow-on call or a presentation to walk you through this. Also share a few case studies if there is interest to understand how we've helped our existing customers achieve 30% efficiencies in energy and expenses. Be happy to set up a follow-on conversation around that as well.
Okay, thank you. Bye.
All right, Anjeev. Thank you so much for your time. Bye-bye.